Today's show is brought to you by High Tech Tactical, Hoosier Racing Tire, Steve's Auto Machine. Also brought to you by 41 Shocks, Knockout Graphics.
You want? Oh.
All right, folks, we are live on Sooner Limited Modified Series, our 50th episode, a special 2-hour presentation. However, we are a little bit late. The engineer was out work. Damien is at work, but we are going to roll with the show anyways. The show must go on. Larry and Steve are on the phone with us, and hopefully we'll get Damien on here when he can, if he is available. But we've got a huge lineup for you. We've got Heston Shaw, Cody Brewer, Robert Elliott, and Kevin Rogers joining us this evening. And so we're going to turn it over to Larry Carr and let him open up our wonderful show for the evening. Once again, we apologize for our late start, as the engineer up here in New York was, well, a little busy, and I apologize for that. Go ahead, Larry.
Well, thank you, Richard. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Thirsty Thursday edition of the Sooner Limited Modified Series show. Glad to have everybody with us. Our 50th episode in one format or another. This is the 50th time that we've done this. As a bit of a throwback, our very first, actually Damien's very first guest on the show was Heston Shaw, and we're going to have him back on tonight. We're going to talk to him a little bit. Hopefully, Cody Brewer will be able to call in. We had him lined up to be our first guest this evening, and he got called out. His real job needs him, and so he's got to take care of that. My buddy Damien is still at work. Steve's with us, luckily. We're going to have Robert Elliott call in a little later. We had hoped to talk to Jared Baird about his win at the Fallen Hero 50 this past weekend out there at Red Dirt Raceway, but unfortunately he's having a graduation tonight that he has to attend. So kind of a perfect storm of the show tonight. We had great big plans, and they're all kind of getting switched around, but we're going to hang with it the best that we can. Steve, man, I missed one heck of a show last Friday night, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yeah, and anybody else that didn't go, they missed it. They missed a real good one. That was probably the most fun I had in a long time.
Well, luckily I got to watch it on the internet. Good, thank goodness for Facebook and the internet and all that stuff out there where we can see things that are happening or have happened where we're not able to be. And it looked like a great race. A lot of excitement on all ends as Jared Baird took off with it and led the entire thing from green to checks. Robert Elliott was the pole winner. He qualified for the pole, and he elected to take the back row challenge, if you will, which means that he elected to go and start from the back, attempt to win from the back for double pay. And it went well for him. It didn't turn out exactly the way he would like for it to. We'll talk to him more about that later on. A lot of great racing action. Looked like it was a pretty good show. We had a good group of cars there, and I think everybody had a pretty good time.
Yeah, everybody had a great time. I know the fans enjoyed to get to do the meet and greet. That was something that we haven't done in a long time. Well, I haven't done it all, and I really enjoyed getting to see the fans and enjoyed seeing the kids out there having a good time. I know the kids enjoyed getting autographs from the drivers and meeting the drivers. So that was really good for everything. And on top of that, we actually had Cody had all the police and sheriffs and the EMT and all that line up on the front straightaway. That was pretty cool. We did that during intermission, actually. But it was just real exciting everywhere all night long.
It looked like it. Looked like it was a really good show, like I said. Especially, I guess, if you were Jared Baird.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for quick rescue roof on that halfway mark and for doing the quick rescue roof kits that evening. He led the halfway mark and ended up getting the roof kit for that. So I'm glad those guys stepped up and did that for them.
Right, and
I know all the drivers was really excited about that too.
I'm going to assume that your hard charger was Robert Elliott, since he passed literally everybody.
Yeah, got to thank Mike for that, for the hard charger award with the bumper, but Ibex Motorsports. Also, on top of Ibex, we have the Bulletproof Chiefs. They threw in another $100 on top of that, so they can have $100 plus the bumper for the hard charger. So that was a real good deal for the drivers. We had all kinds of stuff given out this weekend, and I know a lot of drivers were bragging about the track and said, "Man, if anybody complain about this track, I don't know what to do." I know one of the drivers told me that because it was an awesome track. It was 3 and 4 wide, and it was fast.
Yep.
So yeah. Robert actually jumped up there pretty quick and got up to third place. He got tangled up with a lap car, got his left front down, went to the pits, and got the tire change, went back to the back, and worked his way back up to the third place again.
Right.
So that was really interesting. But
it was.
that left front tire, I will have to say, had a little bit of help with the 00 car.
Yeah.
Because they needed a tire, and they ended up giving one of our tires to, because David drives our car. And
right.
They ended up throwing that tire on that left front. So we'll just say that had a little help.
Oh, that's it. That's the reason it all went well for you right there.
Right.
Not from what I saw, not probably a great night for David. Looked like he got tangled up in a first lap deal over there.
Tangled up pretty quickly in the race, and then I got another call out.
Oh no! Holy moly, folks! I tell you, this is becoming quite the problem here tonight. All of my guests and my hosts and everybody are being called into work. The reason Damien's not with us right now is he's still at work. Cody Brewer is a fireman, as well as being a track promoter and a race car driver and all sorts of other things that he's got in the works there. So he got called out, and now I hear that Stevie's getting called out. So it's going to be the one-man show, looks like.
Oh, I can still talk and do my call out, so we're good on that. Anyway, what I was saying that, David got tangled up, and we ended up blowing the motor, 16 laps into it.
Oh, no.
Now, the thing is, I knew it was getting close to that time where it needed rebuilt, and Dad and I talked about it last week, and said, man, this thing's probably got 500-600 laps on it. It's probably time to tear it down, and we thought we'd get one more race out of it, but
right.
one more race was too much.
Yeah. Well, 50 laps is basically 2 A features, for a normal 25 lap A feature. 50 laps is basically double, so I know that's got to be as hard. It's hard on an engine. It's hard as heck on the drivers. And
yeah. I love watching their faces when they get out of the car after 50 laps. They look like it's rough on them. If these guys say they're in this racing ain't a sport, they ain't going to get on a quarter-mile track and run 50 laps and tell me it's not a sport.
Right. We had the Sooner Late Model Series had a promoter that wanted to know if we were interested in doing a 100-lap A feature, and the answer was pretty quickly no.
Right.
100 laps on a dirt track in a late model is just too much for my guys. Some of our drivers aren't spring chickens anymore. Well, some of our limited modified drivers aren't spring chickens anymore.
No, they're not. But that doesn't make a difference. I mean, they still do.
Oh, they're damn competitors still. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
All of our drivers run hard, whether they're 20 years old or 60 years old. They all run hard. So.
Right. I think Hessler should be calling in any time now. If he's not already called in, he just texted me. There he is.
I'm here.
The Madman. What do you know, Heston Shaw? Welcome to the show.
Oh, nothing much. What are you guys doing?
Well, we're just sitting here talking about the race last Friday night, and why don't you bring us up to your perspective of the whole thing? What kind of night was it for you?
Tiring one.
Yeah. 50 laps is hard, isn't it?
It's a lot. But it was fun.
With the temperature being a little bit higher like it is, it really gets hotter than heck inside those race cars.
Yes, it does.
But still, all in all, a pretty darn good night for you. Looked like a couple of times there you might have had a shot at Jared Baird for the lead there. In fact, I know one time you took a chance and couldn't quite get around him. Tell us a little bit about the race and from your point of view, and what it was like trying to get around him and racing with Don Reed and Robert Elliott and all of that.
Well, since Elliott took that challenge, I started on the pole, and that was a little nerve-wracking. Started on the pole of that 50-lapper. With it only being my, I guess, sixth time in the Sport Mod. I guess it's what it is. And I knew the top side was going to be where that was where you were going to need to be. So I figured Jared, he'd take off, and I was just going to slide up there and as quick as I could. And, for the first 30 laps, just kind of ride around there and, stay out of trouble. Don't use your tires up and just kind of keep your nose clean. And then about, after the 30, that's when you need to start pushing it.
Right.
And I messed up a couple times, and Reed got around me. And then I messed up a couple more times, and Elliott got around me. And then Elliott got in with that lap car that knocked his tire down. And I figured it was time to start pushing on it a little harder.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to brag on you a little bit here. You just got to saying that it's like probably your sixth time in the Sport Mod or Limited Modified. And I'm looking here at the points. You're sitting third in the points. According to this, you've got 5 A-feature starts, 5 top 10s, 4 top 5s. Not bad for a guy his first year in the Sport Mod. Not bad at all.
We're having an excellent year in the Sport Mods. It's actually turned out way better than what we come into the year expecting. There's a lot of good drivers in the Sport Mods, no matter where you go. I mean, plus the guys that travel the series. There's a lot of good cars out there. So.
Well, you're a perfect guy for me to ask a question that I've kind of been wondering about. Being as how the Sport Mods are based on a metric chassis, and most of your pure stocks are based on a metric chassis, how similar is it to drive the Sport, or how much different is there driving the Sport Mod and driving the pure stock?
Oh, there's a lot of difference. The pure stocks, they weigh, we'll say 3,200. Full body cars, a lot less motor. They don't get around a racetrack near as fast as the Sport Mods, and your reaction time is it's a lot faster in a Sport Mod than what it is in a pure stock.
Right, that makes sense with it being a lighter car, more horsepower.
But I mean, they are a lot more fun to drive a Sport Mod.
Right. I've been asked, I'm supposed to ask you about your new nickname. Dusty White said to ask you about your new nickname, the Hitman. The Hitman Heston Shaw, huh?
Yeah, Damien gave that to me.
That's good. I like that. So, if you had the opportunity, would you have taken the challenge?
I don't really know. My dad was kind of leaning towards the no, and I was kind of leaning towards taking it. I mean, it's with guys like Robert and Don and Jared and all them, starting at the front. It's really hard to run them guys down.
Yep.
On long green flag runs. But with it being Meeker in a small racetrack, but I mean, hell, it's Robert Elliott, it's Mr. Sport Model.
Right.
I wouldn't expect anything else from him.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I get both viewpoints. I mean, I get what your dad's saying. It's automatic lock on the front. Really taking a chance to give that up, especially if you can get out there and get away, run away from everybody. To give that up and start dead last and hope that you can work your way either through or around traffic. It looked to me like Robert's philosophy on the deal was to get up high, get out of traffic, and pass as many cars as quickly as possible. We'll talk to him a little bit more about that later. But I believe like in the first lap, he passed like 10 cars in the first lap alone. So, obviously he knew where to go and what to do on the deal.
Yeah, I mean, Robert's very, experienced at it. So, he basically knows what he can and cannot do in a car. And, when you're at the back, it's kind of, how you say this nicely, a bunch of, I don't know, squirrels, I guess you'd call it. So basically,
less experienced competitors.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yes, back there with the less experienced competitors. Yes,
but it's you also need all them cars out there. I mean, you need them guys to show up.
Absolutely.
But I hope I didn't piss nobody off by saying that.
At one time or another, we were those people back there in the back, or at least I was. I don't know about you.
Oh, I damn sure was.
So everybody knows what it's like. Everybody starts somewhere, and not very many people get started at the top. It just doesn't happen.
No, it don't. I know so exactly what.
I take it you're loving traveling with the limited modified series.
Oh yeah, it's a blast. I love this going different places and just traveling in general. I don't like racing the same place all the time.
Right.
I'm actually going to Vivian, Louisiana next weekend.
Wow.
They have a Texas factory stock show. So that's what I've been doing is we've been putting together a Texas factory stock too. So.
Uh-huh. Well, good luck to you down there.
That'll be a fun little trip.
You said down to Louisiana?
Yep.
Cajun country.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yep. See if we can't cause some trouble down there, I guess.
Oh, I bet you guys can. You taking Calvin with you?
No, he don't want to go.
Oh, well, maybe there'll be a little less trouble without him.
They try to get me to go with you. He said, "We always need a good pit man." I said, "Boy, you're getting desperate now."
Well, pit man / just drinking the beer, basically.
Oh, well, yeah, I can do that just fine.
We don't get too carried away with it.
No. Not at all, right?
No.
So Stevie and I were talking. We would absolutely love to see a sponsor or sponsors get behind the idea of this back row challenge and do it more often. I assume that's something that you would get behind also.
Well, I don't know how well that would work out on a different track. in honesty. I mean, like Ada, I think it'd be pretty hard to go from the back to the front.
I think you're right. I think there are some tracks that would test that. Just because of the nature of the track, the way that sometimes some tracks can be one groove, one line. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I understand.
In that situation, it's really, really hard. I mean, don't literally take anything away from Robert Elliott. What he did Friday night is amazing. Even getting back up to third, getting back up to third after having a flat tire. I'm not indicating in any way that was an easy thing for him or for anybody to do, or that being at Red Dirt made it easier or anything like that. It's just the fact that you can go 3 and 4 wide there at Red Dirt helps, because you can get out above, like you said, go up high, stay up high, get out of the way or be out of the way. Hopefully, most of the people are sticking closer to the bottom. And, of course, you can hold the horsepower up a little better when you're up there. Whereas opposed to that one groove racetrack, no matter where it's at, you're not going to be able to get out and go around anybody. Still, you have multiple groups of people.
Yeah, and that is one thing about at Red Dirt is every time we've been there this year, I haven't been disappointed once. I mean, that track it's phenomenal for what Cody has done to it, and just last year racing. I went there a couple of times with the Pure Stock. Just from last year to this year, I mean, he's done a lot of work to it.
He really has. He's done a great job out there, and everybody's hat really is off to him, because he's absolutely turned that thing around, and he's got a little diamond mine down there right now. I'm telling you.
Yes, he does. The only thing I don't like is he runs on Friday night.
Right.
That's the only thing I don't like about it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do everything I can to at least make the Sooner shows there.
Right. Well, I know I speak for everybody when I say that it's been a pleasure working with you and seeing you at the track. And as I told you once before, I've been really impressed with your step from the Pure Stocks up to Sport Mods, and how well you've done it, and how well you're performing. And you've got a couple of seconds and thirds, and you've definitely been a contender a few times. And as Stevie and I were talking about the other day, we're positive that before the year is over, we're going to see you in the winner's circle. And I'm kind of excited to see the Crazy Redhead in the winner's circle, and see just how excited you're going to get.
Oh, if I can get a win on a Sooner night, it'll be awesome.
It'll be a lot of beer drinking.
Yeah, Cody's definitely going to have to leave the gate open if we're there.
I'm sure that's not a big problem.
No, hell, if he even comes over, he can drink a few beers with us.
Yeah, we'll have one heck of a celebration party after that, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll have one for...
Really good talking to you again. I appreciate you being on the show for the second time. Since you were the first ever guest, we thought it was appropriate to have you back on, and being as how you did so well in the Fallen Hero 50, it just fit in naturally, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. You're a good guy to talk to, and we appreciate you being on. Probably before I rush you off, I ought to give you a chance to mention the sponsors and the people that help you out, and the people at home that have to put up with you being gone all the time. I know the wife travels with you sometimes. How about giving a shout out to all those folks?
Yeah, I got to thank. I need to thank Angie at Knockout Graphics for hooking me up on my wrap, and for hooking me up on my factory stock too. I kind of gave her a last minute deal on that factory stock, and she hooked me up, and it turned out nice. And OFB Designs, he did a hell of a job for me. And I need to thank Dunsworth for the power plant underneath the hood. They do a hell of a job. And of course, my mom and dad. Without them, I couldn't do none of it. And Choate Oilfield Services, CWS Wireline, BB Machine, Daniels Construction, RBS Oilfield Service, Terry's Pump and Supply. Of course, I got to thank the wife and crew chief, Jackie Walters. I got to thank him out for all the work he does at the shop and at the racetrack. And I got to thank one of my good friends, Daniel Winemore. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. Yep, Buddha. Good old Buddha.
Yep.
Are you missing somebody tonight?
Yeah, you notice we're missing somebody. Oh, Damien's off working.
Oh. Yeah.
Or at least that's what he tells us, is he's working.
Yeah.
I think he's chasing storms.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a pretty good one just roll through here probably an hour ago.
You guys keep it up there, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I don't need it down here.
Well, appreciate you having me on, guys. Anytime.
Heston, anytime, man. Anytime you want to call in, you're always welcome. We appreciate you. And congratulations on your finish out there at the Fallen Hero 50. And congratulations on your success with the Sooner Limited Modified Series. And we hope for continued success. And as I said, Stevie and I really, really believe that one night this year we're gonna be meeting you in the winner's circle.
Well, I appreciate it, guys, and I hope I do. I hope I pull one off.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
Yeah,
take care, man. Sir. Good luck next week.
You. Yep.
Good luck. All right, Stevie. That's always good talking to Heston.
Yeah, it is. It's good to hear from him. Sorry, I'm making a text message to people that's supposed to be calling in about this time. So
that's kind of what I was wondering. Is our next guest
Cody
ready? Live radio, people. It's just like live TV. You never know exactly what's going to happen. We started out late tonight, and as I mentioned, we've had some of our guests had some things come up that are making them late or preventing them from being on the show. And
people getting called in.
We got a host who's not on the show because he's working, and just all kind of stuff going on all at once.
I just took care of the call in, or the call out I just had, so we're good on that now.
Cool.
So our next adventure. So 2 call outs in a couple hours. I guess I'm all right. It's gonna be one of those nights.
Right. Yeah. With the rain, it's probably and the lightning. You'll probably get called out a few times.
Right.
So what's up next? June 9th?
June 9th at Oklahoma Sports Park in Ada.
And another one that I have got to miss, unfortunately.
Yeah. A little schedule change I've seen over at Enid, so yeah. But we'll get her handled, and hopefully I'll get somebody to record the race so you can see it again, right?
Right. Yeah. I'll be like everybody else. I'll be watching it on the internet.
Yeah, and the week after that is June 16th, and we're going to be at Elk City for the first time.
Yeah, and
real excited about that one.
If I recall correctly, I'll be missing that night too. Man,
yeah,
I'm missing a lot of your shows. Yeah, I got late models at Ada that night, Oklahoma Sports Park.
Yeah. Another one of those wrong place, wrong time, right?
Another one of those 2-night shows with Friday night at Southern Oklahoma Speedway in Ardmore, and then Saturday night at Oklahoma Sports Park in Ada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just not following the shows just aren't falling together the way that I need them to, so that the sport mods and the late models are at the same place at the same time.
Right. Make it a little easier.
It is what it is.
I think it'll be a good show at Elk City. I really do. And,
I was really looking forward to that show too, because I've never been to Elk City, and that's one I'd like to check off my list. But I think we'll be going back again, won't we?
Yeah. Yes, we actually have 2 more shows.
Yeah, I believe I'm
driving down the road. I'll tell you what they are, but
yeah. Let's see. I think I have our schedule.
The day of the show is going to be really great. I think we'll have a pretty good car count that night. And I said, going back to Elk City, last time I've been there was a few years ago, and I got to see the A modified going out there 4 wide, going across the checkers. Now that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's a race that you'll never forget. Seeing
right
like that. That's hardcore racing right there.
I don't know if you guys know that I'm on here. This is Cody. I've been on here for a little while.
Well, we're just waiting for you to say something.
Oh, well, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, no.
Well, fans, please welcome track promoter or driver, a man of many hats, Mr. Cody Brewer, the promoter of Red Dirt Raceway out in Meeker and a few other adventures. Cody, welcome to the show again. Always glad to have you on.
Be here. Appreciate you guys having me on, and always enjoy listening to the show. Even when I'm not on, I try to catch it as often as possible.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that very much. It's nice to know that people actually listen.
I thought we were talking to each other.
So, pretty good show out there Friday night.
Yeah, we had a heck of a show. That's just a cool show. We wanted to do something last year for around Memorial Day, and at least do what we could to thank military and service members of all sorts, and police and firefighters and EMTs, and we'd love to let them in free all the time, but we also got to try to make sure we make our bank payment every month. So we can't do it all the time, but we'd like to do something special when we can, and got hooked up with Stevie last year and put that show together, and he had some ideas and I had some ideas, and last year was a heck of a show, and this year I think it was even better. And it was awesome. We had a great group of cars there. I mean, that's the best group of sport mods in this part of the country as far as I'm concerned. They put on a hell of a show.
They do. They got absolutely the best sport mod drivers in the state. I mean, bar none. I got to assume that you probably let in quite a few people Friday night there with having all the EMT and military and everything in free like that. That's man. First of all, hats off to you for doing that for our military people. Often overlooked and underthanked. I mean, kind of hard to thank somebody. How much can you thank somebody for putting their life on the line to make sure that you and I get to keep doing the things that we do every day?
That's right. You can't tell them thanks enough, and letting them in free to the races one night a year definitely isn't enough, but it's what we can do, and we're going to do everything we can do. So we enjoy getting to do that, and we do. I think the other night we had over 200 people come through the gate that were let in free, service members of different types. So we try to keep a little bit of tabs on it and learn from that. And so at least we got 200 in there, or actually a little bit more than 200. And we got to enjoy a show. A lot of them are guys, people and women as well that come out a lot of times to our weekly shows. And some of them knew that we do that, and some of them, my gate guy, he's familiar with them and has made friends with them and knows that they're retired, a vet or police officer or whatnot, and said, "Hey, you get in free tonight." They didn't even know, and
that's
so
great.
So that's cool to get to do that. But that's cool. And then Stevie, you guys put on a hell of a show, and Jared, Robert Elliott taking that double down challenge and going to the back and coming to the front, and then having a flat tire and starting at the back again and coming back to the front. And Heston had a hell of a run going, and Don Reed. There was a bunch of guys that were wheeling that thing, and it's fun to see those guys. This may sound dumb, but I feel like I finally made it doing my track prep. Like I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. But when modified or sport mods run the top, run the wall, I feel like I've made it. Like if I can get them to do that, because the sport mods and modified just generally don't get off the bottom much, even if there's a lot up there. And to see the top 5 or 6 guys just railing the top lap after lap for 50 laps, it was awesome. That was cool.
Well, from what I saw of the race, which I did get to see the whole thing on video after it was over, especially in Elliott's case, when he finally got up there and for a while there he moved down to the bottom didn't work for him as well as the top did at all. He didn't move forward nearly as well once he moved to the bottom. When he went back up to the top again, that's when he started moving again. And maybe it was something he saw or maybe he just got – I know at one point there he had to start on the inside, and that was one of the reasons that he was down on the bottom, because you can't just jump back up on the top. There's kind of somebody on your outside there. But it looked to me like the top was definitely the place to be, at least for some of the guys. I mean, some of the guys, don't get me wrong at all, it looked like some of them were doing really well on the bottom.
Yeah, there's some guys that, that track's real wide. So the bottom is definitely a lot shorter way around, but I purposely, I'm sure there's a lot of track prep guys out there that can prepare a 2-group track, a bottom and a top, and get it worked out just how they want it. And I'm just not that talented. So I try to make it where the top, once it gets up to a certain point, it's not going to keep moving up. There's a lot of moisture. And that's, anybody that's been out there any time in the last year and a half knows that once it gets up to the top, there's a lot of moisture up there, and they're going to keep digging into it. And it's not just going to dust off like a lot of tracks. A lot of tracks, they start at the bottom, they kind of work it up. When it gets up there, it just kind of seals over and dust off, and they go back to the bottom and just freight train on the bottom. And I don't want that to happen. I don't know if you guys ever, y'all know who Jack Hewitt is. I'm sure you are, but he's an open wheel guy. He was quoted one time saying, "If you're going to run the bottom, you might as well have a real job, a day job." And I always thought that was funny. You're going to run the bottom, get a real job. It's about as exciting. But no, it's cool when it works into a 2-group deal. But if it's going to be one lane, I'd just assume be freight train on the top, and then those guys throw slide jobs. Oh, Baird was throwing slide jobs going through traffic. It was fun to watch.
Yes, he was. I'm watching the video, and I'm trying to watch the front, and at the same time, I'm trying to watch where Robert is and see how he's doing, and who, if anybody's, holding him up any at all. Looked to me like once he got up to like Sean Jaworski, Jimmy Wright, a couple of those guys, they held him up pretty good for a little while there. But even those guys, as talented as they are, they just could not keep Robert Elliott from going where Robert Elliott wanted to go.
Yeah, Robert was fast. Robert, like I said, they were all fast, but there was 5 or 6 of them really, really laying down some fast lap times. And going back and looking at some of the timing and scoring stuff, they were putting some pretty fast lap times down. One of Jared's fastest laps was like lap 47 or something like that. I went back and looked at all the lap times, and one of the last laps of the race was his fastest lap time.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was okay.
Because you would think by then he had pretty much used up his tires, Yeah. You wouldn't think that like 3 laps from the end would have been one of his fastest laps. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You were talking about track prep, and that's not something that just everybody knows how to do. There's a learning curve, and I think that you're getting in the apex of that curve right now. You're getting to where you know what you need to do. Of course, Oklahoma, we get it all, man. We get the high heat, we get the humidity, we get the wind that won't quit. We get, either it rains for a week or it doesn't rain at all, and none of those things are helpful to a track promoter when he's trying to prep his track.
No, you're right. That's I've raced my whole life. I've been at the race my whole life. I've raced since I was about 10, and so I've been racing for 25 years and spent a lot of time and lived a lot of hours at the dirt track and all over the country. Seen different types of dirt, and I thought I had it all figured out. You always think you do, and came in last year, and I talked to Mark quite a bit and what he did, and other people. There's 10 different ways to do track prep, and I'm not saying that any one of them's right or wrong, but really you just kind of got to figure out what equipment you have and what works best for you and what kind of time frame you got to work on it, and you get something figured out. But last year, we were real hit and miss in the first half of the year. We'd have a real good track, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Well, if I did the exact same thing, put the exact same amount of water on it, the wind and the humidity and the sun and everything, temperature was different the next week, and it was the worst track you've ever been on. And we did the same thing we did the week before when it was great. And so you finally just kind of, experience and time in it is your best is the best thing for it, because now it's more of a gut shot. You just kind of I have an idea what I want to do with it, and then you got to watch the weather and keep an eye on things, and then just go with your gut shot on what you've seen it do in the past and what you're trying to get it to do, and what the weather forecast is. But yeah, it's tough. So.
Well, I saw yesterday, I believe it was, that you've gone out and got some more grandstands, some more seats.
That's right. We've been trying to find seats for Meeker, and then we also we promote a big USAC National Midget Show up in Fairbury, Nebraska. We've been doing that for the last couple of years and been trying to find seats for there. And I don't know if anybody ever thinks they want to own a racetrack. Just go look at the price. Go do some price checking on bleachers, because it'll blow your mind. New bleachers are about $100 a seat. So we have the bleachers we have there currently are, let's see, 1,000 people. So if you were to buy those new, what meets modern code, that's $100,000 just for the bleachers.
Wow.
And to find a good deal, you can find some, good deal on used bleachers that meet all the code, modern code, is about $50 a seat. And so that's just not feasible for what we do out there. It's just a real small family operation, and we don't have we're not making really any money. Every penny we make goes right back into that thing, because we have an idea of what we want to get it to. Maybe at some point down the road, after we get all our projects done, maybe we can make $1. But right now, every penny that thing makes, it goes right back into it. And I hope everybody sees that, because we're constantly out there working and just plugging away at projects. But yeah, we were able to locate those bleachers right now. And in the first phase of that, we're going to add approximately 400 to 500 seats being split between. We're going to put some by the old scoreboard that doesn't work, which is that's another project in itself. But going to go up there. We already have a pad built and gravel pad there, and we're going to add about 300 seats right there, and it's a nice elevated area. Has a great view of the track. And then we're going to put another couple, 200 or 300 over just out on the pit side, but just up by the tailgate area, up on the top outside of turn 2. But it's just the same deal. It's an elevated area, and it's a great seat to set there. And we've had, we don't need extra seats all the time, but we've had some shows where we could have had some extra seats, used some more seats. And luckily, the tailgate area is kind of taken off, and that's kind of relieved a little bit of stress on our grandstands, because they don't seat that many people. And people are taking advantage of the tailgate area and having a hell of a lot of fun up there. They bring an ice chest in there and bring a carload of people and a grill, and they drink their own beer and grill their own food, and can do it for a pretty good price for a big old load of people. But we know we have that USAC National Midget Show coming up on Tuesday night, July 10th, Tuesday Night Thunder. And that's the best of the best midget guys. That's Keith Coons Cars, and that's Jerry Coons and Dave Darlin and Brady Bacon and Tyler Courtney and Kevin Thomas Jr. and the Clausen Cars, and that's all the big dogs. And that's going to be a hell of a show. And we've already got some television advertising lined out for that. Cool. Hopefully we have a big crowd on that. We need all those bleachers, and we have some plans to add another 300 or 400 down by our main grandstand now. Our goal is to get it up over 2,000, be able to seat 2,000 people, and we have some plans down the road while we need that. So
nice,
yeah. Hopefully we keep moving that direction.
I think that owning a racetrack is kind of like owning a classic car or a hot rod. You're never going to be finished with it. You're always going to want to do this a little bit more, or this a little prettier, or this, we're going to make this modification. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, you're right. I never thought about it like that. I always thought more about like I was going to the poker table every Friday night. That's what it feels like. Going all in, on the roulette wheel and black.
Put the mortgage paper right there in the middle of the table and hoping like heck that your bluff goes.
I'm not shitting you. That's what I feel like every Friday. I mean, I get butterflies.
It is.
Oh, hell. Here we go.
It's, and we've said this a lot of times, but it bears saying again and again. If you've never done it, you just don't have any idea of all of the little bitty things that it takes. Everything from toilet paper to the track to, just on and on and on. There's just so much to prep, so much to take care of, so much to do. And then, as you go along, you want to keep things nice. You want to improve things. It's a 24/7 job.
It is. It definitely is. We, the other night, and I'm talking about toilet paper. Hold on, I got somebody beeping in. The other night, talking about toilet paper last Thursday, we're trying to get the place mowed up, and I was at the fire station last Thursday, so I couldn't be out there. My dad, but he was out there working on stuff and trying to get trucks ready, and we tried to put water on tonight before. You generally do. It saves a lot of work the next day, but I honestly don't trust my dad with a water truck very much, so I got to keep him kind of under tabs on that. But he was out there, and then he was over by the main concession and noticed that the shitter was backed up. And so then, about 7 o'clock last Thursday before that Fallen Hero 50, we had to have the septic guys out there. We had the lines dug up and had to auger through it. And there were some tree roots that were catching all the stuff. And it's like, man, people don't, hopefully, and Larry, you've heard us on the radio, and so have you, Stevie, but, I'm not always the most calm on the radio. Hopefully, as far as how we present things to the race fans and to the drivers, for the most part, everything seems like it's going smooth. And we try to look ahead and think ahead and plan ahead for contingency plans and different things, but it doesn't always go as smooth as it seems. And, but I really pride, and as you guys know, we really pride ourselves on running a fast-paced show and one that's fan-oriented, and it takes a lot more effort to do that, to run a fast-paced show, but that's what we want to do, and that's how we feel like we're going to develop the next generation of fans and take care of the fans we got, and grow that thing to what we want it to be, and get dirt track racing back where it needs to be in this part of the state and this part of the country.
Absolutely. I just saw a post on Facebook yesterday about tracks that drag their show out and people's opinions on that. And, they are pretty much like what you say, the guy that can get it in and get it done and present a good product, because that's what it is. We're selling a product, and we want to sell the best product that we can. Get them in, get them out, in a reasonable time. I know as a fan, I don't want to pay $15 to go out there and watch 1 hour's worth of races, but I also don't want to go out there and be there for 8 hours.
Yeah, that's right. There's a fine line there, and you got to kind of balance that. And you're right. We offer a show, and it makes me feel good because I look at it as a show or as an event every Friday, which puts a lot more pressure on us to make it. If we didn't look at it as a show and we just open the gates and let guys go on the track, make some laps, somewhat organize it, that's what most tracks do. It's not really a show. Well, it's a lot less stress to the owner. You don't have to worry about entertaining people, and you don't have to worry about pleasing them and presenting a nice product. And so it's a lot less stress, but that's what's killing this deal. And those guys, those tracks and those promoters that do it like that run 6-hour programs and run 8 classes of cars, and they're killing us. Hold on just a second. You guys talk. I'm at the fire station. We're getting a call. I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, well, I got to go, guys. I appreciate you.
Okay. All right, Cuddy. Appreciate you being on, man. Sorry that we couldn't talk more. Good luck to you, and we'll look, if nothing else, we'll see you July 10th out there for the midget races coming up. And we definitely want to get you back on the program again.
We got an ASDS sprint car show on June 1st, next Friday. We're off tomorrow, and then next Friday we got a sprint car show, and then the USAC show on July 10th. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Well, Stevie, it's been an interesting night for
this is the night of the call-outs, right?
On the show with call-outs. I haven't got a call yet. Luckily, I don't have a emergency-type job. If they call me, I'm going to let it go to voicemail. I don't know who would need an emergency part, but whoever it is going to be SOL.
Right.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
it's
when
always
you call at the wastewater plant like I do, you better get over there because
yeah.
you can figure out the rest of the story from
Yeah,
there.
you know the rest of that story exactly. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So
I think Kevin's going
let's
to call
see.
in. Then we'll have Robert call in right after that.
Okay.
You know, like I say, we're sorry about everything going on tonight. It's been kind of one of them nights where we kind of mixed the schedule up a little bit than what we planned on. But hey, it's going to happen.
Yep. Not everything's perfect, especially when you're doing live. Speaking of, well, we've got a moment here, and there's not a guest on that we need to talk to or anything. Probably a good time for me to talk about our sponsors for the Sooner Limited Modified Series. Folks like my buddy Dusty White over at FB Designs, who helps us out with our graphics work and does a whole lot of work with the drivers on wraps for their cars and that. Who's Your Tire? Don't even have to say what it is that they do for us. Everybody knows Who's Your Tires. Knockout Graphics, Angie and her group, right along with Dusty, they help us out a lot on graphics and signs, and of course wraps for the drivers. And they always come through for us in a pinch. You know, Heston was saying a while ago that he kind of felt bad because he jammed them up on his cars and had to kind of do a rush job. But from what I've heard and seen, I think that those guys thrive on rush work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do.
They seem to do their best work when they're kind of rushed.
Yeah.
Smiley's Racing Products, of course, a big sponsor for the Sooner Limited Modified Series and for racers all over the place. Bulletproof Products, Donco Plumbing, Total Custom Carbs and Dyno, 41 Shocks, Steve's Auto Machine. I don't know, I was just looking to see, doesn't 41 sponsor our Move of the Race, right? Move of the Race. That's what I was trying to find, was what specific thing that they sponsor besides just sponsoring the series itself. Steve's Auto Machine, of course. High Tech Tactical. Speaking of High Tech Tactical, we are giving away this year a hunting rifle, 270 Savage Trophy Hunter. And we're raffling it off. The tickets are $10 for one ticket, $20 for three tickets, or $40 for seven tickets. And you can buy them at the track. You can buy them on PayPal. They can get a hold of you or me or Eddie at High Tech Tactical. Any of those people can hook you up with a ticket. Somebody's going to take home a real nice deer rifle toward the end of the season, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be one of our listeners here on the show.
Yeah, I believe I had that set up for 2 weeks prior to the hunting season, so...
Oh, look at that.
October 27th.
You got just enough time to sight it in before you go hunt. Images Times 2, Gary and Liz Pigg, they help us out with all our photographic needs. They follow us around from track to track and take some excellent photos. Ibex Motorsports, who sponsors our Hard Charger Award every week. Blake gives away a bumper to the person that is what we call the Hard Charger, which is the person that passes the most cars in the A feature. Kind of makes sense with the name. Quick Rescue Roofs, that's one of our newer sponsors and one that we're really happy to have on board. They are come on board and are sponsoring, they sponsored the Fallen Hero 50, the halfway point. The leader at the halfway point got a new quick rescue roof, which, as we got to talking about earlier today, come to find out, that's really going to be a bonus for Jared Baird, who won it, because he discovered this week that he cannot get out of his race car with his helmet on, and come an emergency, that quick rescue roof may just be the thing that he needs the most right there. And a lot of you guys out there, a lot of you guys with cars, with race cars, I don't care whether it's a pure stock, a modified, mini stock, late model, whatever it is, you need to look at this guy and look at this stuff and think about your safety, because that's what this is about. This is a way to get you out of the car in an emergency quickly. And, you know, not all of us are as young as we used to be or as quick as we used to be, and there's going to be some situations where getting out of a race car is going to be a problem, and these guys right here can help you with that problem a whole lot, because this is a really neat deal, and we want to get behind it really hard. And then we want to mention our newest sponsor. We want to mention Schoenfeld Headers, of course, also one of our sponsors. But our newest sponsor is KR Performance Fuels, and they just come on board this week. We'll be talking to Keith. It's Keith, right? Kevin Rogers. Kevin Rogers. Later on in the show, we'll talk to him about his contribution and what it is that KR Performance Fuels does.
He is on the phone right now, by the way.
Well, how about that? Gosh, talk about just your great segue right there. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
We appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
It's nice to have you with us. Tell me a little bit about KR Performance Fuels. I assume that you're in the racing fuel business.
That's correct. Yeah, we're authorized Sunoco dealer. We take care of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tennessee, and it's a great opportunity, man. We've been around the sport all of our life, been in the industry for 20-something years, and it's just kind of a blessing. We get an opportunity to get out and meet people and put a great product in their hands at a reasonable price to help them get to the next show. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, just keep racers on the racetrack, keep fans in the stands, and make this whole thing work, and try to help grow the sport as much as possible.
Well, great, because that fits right in with what we try to do. We're trying to keep racing alive and, you know, keep a good product in front of the fans, and it's nice to have you on board.
Well, we appreciate that. That was one thing that was real attractive when I was talking to Steve, was just looking at the history of the series and the quality of the events and the caliber of drivers that show up week in and week out, and it's a pretty awesome deal to be a part of. You got a great program, and we look forward to working with it.
Well, you know, we like to toot our own horn a little bit and say that we've got the best sport mod drivers in the state of Oklahoma racing with us. And, you know, when we say it, it's one thing, but when somebody from the outside comes in and says the same thing, it kind of carries more weight because, as I said, we kind of tend to toot our own horn. But you, on the other hand, you're an outside observer, and it's really great to hear that coming from the outside.
Well, sure. You can look at the point sheet and just look at there's some headers showing up on that deal, and it's always fun when you stack up 2024 cars in an A main, and there's 2024 potential feature winners in there, and that's a great show for the fans and the guys out there and the gals racing. They enjoy that. They like the competition. They like knowing when they want to race, they outrun some of the best in that division. So, like I say, we're just happy to be a part and looking forward to forging a long-term marketing partnership with you guys and trying to help build and grow along with you and see what we can contribute along the way to kind of make everything work.
Great. Well, that's you know, that's just right exactly where we want you to be. So that's great. Stevie, what do you got for Kevin?
I just want to thank him for coming on this week. You know, I probably feel like I've been barring for the past 2 months now, and
that's
but
right.
Like I told him, I knew he was busy, but I do appreciate everything, and you know, I know you do the promotion of the deal too. You know, the KR promotions as well, and you know, so I know you're pretty hooked up.
Yeah, we try to stay busy. That seems to keep us out of trouble as much as we can. But you know, just about everything we do revolves around motorsports and racing, and that's just kind of the passion I've had since I was about 4 years old. And it's one of them deals you kind of think you'll grow out of it at some point, you know, but it just sucks you in. And
I hope not.
And yeah, no, it's a great thing, you know. I hear people all the time that don't go racing. They're like, well, "What's the appeal of it?" And I always tell them the people. The racing and all that stuff's neat, but most of the people I hang with now and that I grew up with and that I look up to and stuff, I met at the racetrack, and good quality folks, and
That's
just
family.
real excited about it. So that's right. Yeah, you know, you got your blood kin folk, I guess, and but you got a racing family, and that racing family is pretty strong. They step up in times of need, and it's just fun. You know, to me, that's our hashtag with the promotion, but it's hashtag have fun. I'm a firm believer in that. There's nothing worse than a racer or a fan showing up at the racetrack not in a great mood. It really is a privilege that we get to do what we get to do, and you know, our military men and women kind of give us that freedom, and so we are to exercise that with an attitude of having a good time and having fun and taking some folks with you and making an event out of it, and just kind of help grow the sport. You know, there's so much negativity in the world today, and so we don't need to bring it into something that 99% of us do as a hobby. We need to enjoy
Absolutely.
it. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of our plateau with that. So, but yeah, we've just been very fortunate over the years to get opportunities and be able to do some things with them. And you know, we put on a handful of races ourselves and do some things, and we just, like I said, we just love being involved in it. You know, every aspect of it. We race a little bit. We're not any good, but we have fun doing it. And so we've kind of been fortunate to see all different angles of the sport, and that's I think that's helped us with a lot of the business stuff we've done, just kind of understanding multiple levels of it. But yeah, we're excited, looking forward to it, and hoping to be a contributor for years to come.
That sounds
Cool.
great, man. Thank you.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you mentioned that people say, well, you know, what's the appeal? Why do you do this every week, and why do you go out there and I've invited people to come out to the track, and I don't know if I've just been lucky or I've just invited the right people, but as of yet, I have never taken anyone to the track that hasn't had a good time, that has left there going, you know, I don't ever want to come and do this again.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, one of the funnest things when you show up to a racetrack and you find out there's some new people there. I like sitting with them and just watching and talking and answering their questions, because we take it for granted. We grew up in it, so we know what the flags mean. We know how they restart. We kind of get that part of it. A newbie has no clue. And so it'd be like if you took me on a cooking show. I have no clue how to cook, so I would just be lost. And so it's fun sitting there getting to kind of watch them and especially see them, because genuinely they have a smile on their face, because it's unique. It's a pretty cool opportunity, and like I say, we're all pretty fortunate to be able to do what we do and get to be involved in something that's so rewarding. It's frustrating a lot of nights, with some of these guys, and it's a lot of work, and I think one thing that's overlooked, and I think this is a big thing, but there's a lot of great women in motorsports that allow their husbands, boyfriends, sons, and husbands, daughters, all the different people to go out and do this. And so those women really need a big prop, because they put up with a lot, and they kind of help make a lot of stuff go. So a lot of great things going on in racing right now, and we just need to build on it and keep it going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like where you're coming from. You're right up my alley.
Well, it's funny. I tell people all the time, I see it a lot, because I'm on Facebook a lot doing different things, and people are like, oh, Facebook's ruining racing. Facebook is the best thing for racing right now. And people look at me funny. I said, because Facebook's not the problem. It's the inputter that's the problem. They're going to be
Absolutely.
the same issue.
I agree.
If you have an issue with something, there's a way to handle it. Facebook's great, because I can scroll down there and see race results, race schedules, upcoming events all over the country. So it's a great resource. I can spend 20 minutes and I can plan out 6 months worth of events I want to attend, race at, whatever we're doing. So it's a great tool if it's used properly. Again, it's the inputter that's the issue. If I'm racing for Stevie and I got a problem with the call, there's no need to get on Facebook as soon as I get out of the car and say, man, this guy doesn't know what. Just go find him and be like, hey, what happened? Because what I saw might be different things. And a lot of times you'll watch the video the next morning, you're like, oh, yeah, that guy didn't turn down on me. I turned up into it. And so cooler heads prevail. Sometimes we try to have a policy when we race, and when the races are over, if we've had a bad night or an issue, you just leave your phone in the truck. Look at it the next day, and 99% of the times after you sleep on it, it's kind of going to take care of itself, So, but yeah, Facebook's a great tool. Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all that stuff's great tools for racing. Like racing, I hear so many people talk about racing's dying, and I understand what they're saying. It's different, the mentality of generations have changed, and there's some just generational things that are changing, and there's opportunities to do other things. But I don't think racing's dying. I think the fact that we got to put some effort into it. It's like anything, you might hit a low or hit a low spot. You got to go out and get creative. And I had a conversation with a gentleman today. When I was a kid growing up, I went to the races to watch 20 cars race door to door. I went there to watch a race. You look around now, what you're seeing is drawing the crowds, trailer races, demo derbies. We got to add a little extra. That entertainment value's got to be there. Instead of building a race, let's build some events, and let's do this thing and get it right. You know, we put on a race. We put 2 announcers in the booth, one on the ground interacting with the fans. There's never a dull moment at the races. Those people deserve that. You go to a Dallas Mavericks game and they're not playing basketball. They got music going, dancing, they're twirling, whatever. Once you get in that seat, you're entertained until the ball game's over, and that's a great thing to try to accomplish. And I know you was talking a little bit earlier about the race programs running long. Nobody wants to get the racetrack at 6 and leave at 3. That's not what we want to do. You want to get there at 7:38 race and be out there at 10:30, 11. Go all ready for the next show, you know. And it's so many positives, so many elements we could build and grow on. It's a mindset. Kind of wrapped around like, do I want to be part of the solution? Do I want to be the part that's going to advance our sport that we all love and are passionate about, or do I want to be one of the problems? And once you make that decision and you start going in a positive way, it's amazing how much things start to grow and develop. And that's why I get excited about the sport, because I can see the growth. And I know people are going to be hearing this and be like, oh, this guy's crazy. Well, a little bit of me probably is, but I'm not willing to throw in the tank. I'm willing to work think we want it to be or where it needs to be or where it should be. And like I said, there's a lot of crown jewel events all over the country now, and there's great opportunities. I always tell people, take a kid racing, man. Best thing I tell people, my racing memories as a kid when I was growing up is I was always with my dad Friday and Saturday night. We got to race. Some of the best memories of my life with my dad at the racetrack. So there's a lot more to it than just racing, you know. So
absolutely,
it's
absolutely
stuff. So, and that's what I see with what you guys are doing with the Fallen Hero thing, man. Big props for that. That's a great way to honor and recognize so many great people and put on an event. And that's the kind of creativity I think that the sport needs to keep growing and building a new fan base and getting guys excited about being at the racetrack again.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you say, it's got to be an event. It's got to be every week. It's like the circus is coming to town, only the circus doesn't come to town every week. So we've got to work harder, because the competition for the entertainment dollar is as high as it's ever been. I mean, you know, every weekend you've got 40 million things going on. You've got casinos. You've got Major League basketball here in Oklahoma. You've got, just 10,000 things all vying for the entertainment dollar out of that fan's pocket. And for us as racing people, as racers, as promoters, as all of that, we've got to put on a event, a program that's exciting, that's interesting, that's going to draw people out. And the challenge, as I think I've seen it lately, and I've seen some people really respond to this, especially some racers, we've been putting out deals where I did this last week, and I've seen some other people do it in the last 3 or 4 weeks, where we're inviting people, if you've never been to the racetrack before, to come out, and we'll buy your ticket for the night. We want to get you in. We want to get people who have never been to the track before. We want to get them to come out, and we want to get them a taste of what it is that we love so much and why it is that we love it. I'm like you. I grew up around racing since I was 7, 8 years old, going to the dirt track, watching my dad race, being a part not just of watching him race, because at an early age, I started selling programs. My mom worked in the concession stand, and then later on, I actually got to race alongside my dad for a while. And like you said, some of the best memories of my life are at a dirt track, and I want to share that feeling and that emotion and that whole thing with people. And like Stevie was talking about, outside of the grandstand side of it, there's a whole nother side over in the pits. There is a huge family over there. We see each other. We see people at their worst moments sometimes, when they get hot and they get upset with each other and they get out of the car and the first thing they want to do is fight and all that. But what you're not seeing is the other side of it, where there are guys over there that are thrashing on each other's cars, trying to help one another, where like as Stevie was talking about way earlier in the show, you know, his driver loaned a front tire to Robert Elliott so that Robert Elliott could continue to race. Now, I don't know too many sports out there where a competitor is going to help you beat him.
That's
beat
right.
you,
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? But
yeah,
there is a camaraderie and a family feeling over there.
Yeah, well, it is. And, I tell people all the time, I said, you want to see a racing family, just watch the hot pit down there, man. A guy will come in with a flat tire running third, and there'll be 14 guys over at changing it. One of them's his guys. The other 13 come from half the guys that are on the racetrack. They want him back out there so he can compete because, again, racers want to race at a high level of competition. They enjoy knowing that they're out there competing and doing their best, running side by side with guys they respect. And that's one thing we got in a conversation a while back, is respect on the racetrack. It seemed when I was a young fellow watching racing, that was pretty common. Nowadays, you're seeing more of that 8 tires turn better than 4 mentality. And so, we got to work on some of that stuff as drivers and kind of cleaning up some of our things to get out there and respect others' equipment like you would your own. Because, like I say, 90% of us blue-collar guys, we work for a living, and we go race to recreate and relax and enjoy our buddies. And when we get to that level of racing and stuff, it just seems like the quality of the program is better. There's nothing better when you see guys get out of their cars in the pits. He just ran 7th, but he's smiling ear to ear because the car was great. And he raced with some tough guys, and there's no shame in where you run. There's only one winner every night you go. And so, but in my book, everybody that shows up that puts the work in all week long is a winner when they get to the racetrack.
They're all winners.
What the
Absolutely.
I talk with Joe Duval a lot. Joe Duval's a great guy, and I think he's a great ambassador for the sport. There's a guy that runs at a high level and runs with USMTS and does all that, but he keeps everything in perspective. And I got a lot of respect for that because you can get caught up so easily in all the drama and all the things and the frustration that sometimes we forget why we're doing it. And I tell people all the time, I said, let's go fishing and let's get in a fist fight about halfway through the bass tournament. And they're like, well, that would just be dumb. I said, yeah, it's kind of the same point.
Well, there you go.
Exactly. It's just, you just got to put in perspective. But overall, in my honest opinion, racing's great. I think it could be better, like anything. I think it could always be better, but I think it's going to take a group effort. I hear a lot of stuff and read a lot of stuff. Man, there's so many moving pieces. The promoter, I always laugh when I see this, and the racers talking about promoters making too much money. Man, when I go racing, I hope he's making $30,000, $40,000 a night. Because if he's making some money, we're going to get to come back and do it again.
Right.
And but the promoters got to do well. The fans got to have a good experience. The marketing partners have got to benefit from it. The racers, the crews, everybody's got to take a slice of the pie to make the whole thing work. And it's just a big giant puzzle, and all the pieces need to line up together. And so when we start getting to that point, you're starting to see some of these tracks that have got on that. I used Toby Cruz up at 141 Speedway in Wisconsin a lot. We went up there last year, had the opportunity to race, and it was pretty cool because he ran a quick program at 9:30. We were done with our qualifying night, and the floodgates open. They let all the spectators in the pits. Well, I bet you nobody went home. They came to the pits. We sold a ton of T-shirts, but it was refreshing to see that many kids and people coming around wanting to look at cars, crawl in them and stuff. And I encourage promoters to interact with those young fellas and young ladies at the racetrack because that's our future of it, And they play video games so much now, and they're on their phones. And I hear people talk about that. Like they're like, well, I look up in the stand and people are on their phones. That's just what we do these days. So why not take advantage of it? Why not have a scavenger hunt for your social media page for your racetrack during the races? Do some fun stuff with it. Play some bingo or just do something to keep people engaged and entertained. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for an experience. And the great side-by-side racing that, like your series and stuff, will offer them is just a bonus. They've already felt fulfilled, and then they see great racing. Get on there, they like the page, they look at the schedule, like, man, 2 weeks, we're back over here. We're taking an hour road trip. We're going to watch that show again because those guys put on a quality show, and we had a great time. My boy loved it. You get that whole element, that warm, fuzzy feeling, and you just start growing, and you start building that fan base back up. And then, I'm not ever going to lose hope that we can still fill up grandstands, we can still fill up pits, we can pay a good purse, we can make some money, the promoter's happy, the life's good, not to be talking too much rainbows and kitty cats, but there's still hope that we can get the sport where it's got to be, and I get excited thinking about it, but it takes everybody's collaborative effort. Even if we don't agree on everything, we have different opinions, we still got to forge for the same end result, and we can get there. And that's just kind of my take on it. And I know we was talking fuel, and we kind of went on a squirrel hunt here, but I get pretty passionate when we start talking about it, and I really enjoy the sport. And like I say, it's kind of all I know. It's what I've been around, and I want to keep it going for generations to come because at the end of the day, to me, it's the best sport on earth.
Well, I can tell that you have an absolute passion for it, and it's something that you really enjoy. And I don't mind if we go off squirrel hunting all night long because I think you're absolutely right. I think on a whole, I mean, like all of the points that you've made, we've got to get young people involved. We've got to keep them involved. That is where the future of racing is at. It's not. I'm almost 60 years old. It's not guys my age that are going to keep this thing going. It's my kids and my grandkids and their friends that are going to keep this thing going, that are going to be taking over when we're not able to do this anymore. And if we don't keep promoting it and keep growing it and make it be the fun thing that we know it can be, then yeah, it's going to die. It's going to die, but it's going to be on all of us that it did.
Yeah. Well, the thing about racing, and it's like a lot of team sports, but I look at racing a lot growing up around it, is there's so many life lessons that you can learn in racing, as far as just, mechanical abilities and quality time with your parents and your friends and your buddies and how to be responsible, how to balance a budget. You only got X amount of dollars to race, so how do you spend that money to get to the racetrack? And, there's so many life lessons that you don't realize you're getting until you get a little older, and then you kind of correlate it back. And I remember one time I was probably 14, 15, driving a little four-cylinder car, and my dad's like, I'll work on it in the shop with you all week long, but when you go in, I go in. Well, I wanted to go do something with my buddy, so I went in. Well, come Friday night or Saturday night, whatever night we was racing, I was like, hey, you ready to go? He said, the car's not ready. I said, what do you mean it's not ready? He said, you went in and I went in. We sat home that Saturday night, and I don't think I've missed a race since because that one just slowed me down. And it was a great life lesson. I called his bluff, and there wasn't no bluff there to have. And so, and I appreciate and respect my dad for a lot of the things he taught me and the way he taught us how to handle ourselves. And sometimes we don't win, but when you lose with dignity and you learn how to get better. But I enjoy watching these guys that can really understand their cars and they still do a lot of their own work, build their own cars, and they make them work, and they're always trying to get that extra edge and just really dig and work. And I got a lot of respect for that guy because he's all in. He's invested in what he's doing, and I appreciate his passion. And sometimes tempers flare and whatever, but a lot of times I call it a heat of passion because these guys are passionate about what they're doing. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and you got to have that guy. You got to have those people, and that's what the fans love to see, and they love to see that competition and that hard-nosed racing, and it's just fun. I mean, I tell people all the time, whether we take a car or not, man, I'm probably one of the biggest race fans you'll see because I just want to watch a good race, and it doesn't matter if it's four-cylinder, if it's a wing car, if it's a modified, limited, stock. If it's good racing, it's good racing. I'm going to watch it.
Absolutely.
And I enjoy that, and I enjoy the camaraderie. But our sport's great. I'm so thankful I got to grow up in it and continue to work in it and advance and do some things. And like I say, we're super excited from the fuel business side to be working with you guys and tagging our brand and our product and with such a great organization that's like-minded, if you will. And we want to help and we want to work with the racers and we just want to offer what we can to give back just enough that hopefully it makes a difference. And if we can keep a guy coming back and forth week after week, and then it's mission accomplished in our book. So we're just excited to be a part.
Great. Well, I know I speak for Stevie and for all of the people when I say that we're really happy to have you on board. Just your enthusiasm alone has sold me. So I know that we can expect some great things from KR Performance Fuels throughout the year. And we look forward to working with you and having you on board.
Well, we appreciate that. Go check us out. Facebook, it's KR Promotions Performance Fuels LLC. Go give us a like if you're interested in our promotion stuff. It's KR Promotions LLC. Check it out. That's where all the fun shenanigans happen, and we do a lot of fun. Just I wouldn't say over the top, but outside the box type promoting and marketing techniques. Just trying new stuff and seeing what works and what doesn't, so we can try to get better at what we do. But go check us out. And phone numbers are listed on both pages. If we can help you with some fuel, if we can answer any questions, give us a call. We're open 24/7.
Thanks, sir.
All right, Kevin. Thank you very, very much for being on with us. Appreciate it very much.
We appreciate it, man. Keep up the good work. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, bud.
All right. Kevin Rogers with KR Performance Fuels, our newest sponsor for the Sooner Limited Modified Series, a guy obviously who really loves racing and is real excited about it. And I don't know about you, Stevie, but I'm pretty excited about working with him this year.
Oh, I've been watching his KR Promotions for a while. I've been kind of watching him for a while, and always enjoy watching all his videos he does and all the posts he makes. And then he started up this KR Performance Fuels and been talking to him for quite a while now. And I was really excited about having him on board because I knew he's going to be fun to work around with us.
Well, I think I think he's going to be a lot of fun to work with. It should be a really great year with that. So.
He's an awesome guest to have on. Man, that guy can talk.
Hey, look at you who made the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my co-host, Damian Bean. Damian, you finally get done with the torch and the welder?
Yeah, I'm done. Pretty long, almost a 17-hour day, man. Sorry I couldn't be here for the beginning of the show, but it had to be done, so we got her done.
Yeah. So, Stevie, have we heard from Robert?
I just sent him a text, told him we were ready.
Yep, I think I just joined you.
There he is.
So there. All right. How about that? Boy, I'm telling you, I am segueing this thing just perfectly tonight. Robert Elliott, Mr. Sport Mod, welcome to the show, sir. My gosh, you put on a show Friday night.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Dude, take us back to Friday night and tell us. I guess you knew going in that if you made the poll, you were going to take that challenge.
Well, we'd talked about it a little bit, and it just it kind of made sense. I respect you guys putting on this series deal, and I try to add to it the best that I can. Don't always necessarily. I want to win. Don't get me wrong, but if we can add to it and put on a show, that really means as much to me as winning. And if we could have won it from where we were, definitely would have been even better. But it was good.
Oh yeah. But you kind of impressed me as a guy that the money is great, it's important and all that, but it's kind of secondary to kind of the bragging rights and, like you said, putting on a show and that part of it more than the extra $750. Let's face it, $750. It ain't nothing to sneeze at, but. And you probably had as good a shot as anybody at taking home that extra money. But you can tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think it's the money that really motivated you the most.
No, it's never been. I've been racing, for years, and it's never been, a money-making deal. So I've always given up on that. It's nice to, break even or kind of pay the bills, but just to get and go race and to be able to run good. Obviously, everybody can't break even or make money at it at all. So we've been pretty fortunate and done, the best that we can with it. But it's always really been about, putting on a show. I love, to get out of the car and have people stand up cheering. And, I just, I'd do anything for that. I'd do it for free if that's what it took,
See, and that's kind of the thing that I think some of us have lost along the way. I think there's some of us that need to go back to racing for just trophies.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everything has gotten, so expensive. I've seen it now as I get older and older, I look back and, fuel's higher, tires higher, just everything's went up. And, the pay hasn't went up a lot. But, looking back, I take most of my family goes with me every week and my friends. And, we have a good time at the track. And like I say, it's nice to run good. But, when you get out of the car after a good night, man, that couple $100, it doesn't really mean much, even if you do good. So it helps. Don't get me wrong, but.
Well, you did really well. Unfortunately, as we've talked about earlier, I wasn't able to be there. I had to watch the thing secondhand on video, and oh man, you were pretty impressive. I gotta admit. I think you passed. I didn't do a real exact count, but I believe you passed 10 cars in the first lap alone.
Yeah, the first lap, it seemed like there was actually a little moisture still down low, and it seemed like everybody kind of went to that and left the top open there a little bit, and it really helped us out, just cleared it up and give us plenty of room to do what we need to do. And as it went on, it seemed like I had to go to the bottom time or two, and it just at that point it wasn't what it was early on, and so
right.
Yeah, I should help. helped a lot.
I saw that too. I saw where at one point you had to start on the inside, and after that you stayed down on the bottom for a little while, partly I'm sure because you can't just jump up to the top without running over somebody, and partly because, well, that's where you were. I mean, what are you going to do? But the bottom just didn't really work for you as well as the top did.
No, it seems like you have to shut it down so much you lose your momentum, and the top deal. I mean, I think, and then Heston and Don and Jared, I mean, them guys are fast up there, and I knew they would be, but we've started up pretty close to the front of it last year in the lap cars. I knew they would, play into that deal. So it was, it was a good show. I mean, they right around the top at the end, and I think we was probably a little faster than some of the guys in the front, but to be able to get there and get around them and stuff, it was going to take a lap car and some really good luck to slow them up to make that happen. But, like I say, in the end, hats off to those guys. They're fast. I mean, it's probably our turn to win one of those. We've missed a couple of shows that was really close on and whatnot, but just putting on a show for the fans. I hope they enjoyed all that, and it was worth it, even, running top three. So
when you had the flat, did you think, oh, heck, this is it?
Yeah, and I don't think they put our tire on it. I don't know where they come up with the tire. I thought, well, we'll give it a lap or so and see, where it ends up, how it drives and stuff. And there was some lap cars in between us, so that helped move us back up on that restart. And man, I don't know where they got the tire, but it was pretty darn good again. And come to find out, it had also bent the spin a little bit, so that had us handicapped a little more. But yeah, so it was with what we had to work with. Pretty fortunate to finish where we were.
Well, you did a heck of a job. I think Stevie can elaborate a little bit on where that tire came from. Can't you, Steve?
Yeah, black 00 car.
I heard talk of that. I seen that silver wheel. I thought, yeah, I knew it wasn't ours. And looked around. I think somebody said Stevie or David or somebody had loaned it to us. We appreciate that. That's what it's all about, helping everybody.
It is.
At the end of the day, it's putting on a show for the people in the stands. That's what it's all about.
Well, you put on a heck of a show, dude, and man, it's just, a bridesmaid, not a bride this time, but your time's coming, I'm sure.
Well, we'll get it. We're always, try to be right there. You can't, always have the best of luck and stuff. And I knew starting on the front, we, if something didn't happen with me and Jerry, lap cars, we was going to have a good race. But I thought, it'd mean a lot more to me and everybody else watching if we could, they give something for them to watch coming through there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that little track really works good for that because, like some of these other bigger tracks, you can't make it up. When somebody gets out, it's hard to make up. But that little, that little track is just, it keeps everybody pretty close. And, you fall in the second or third and look up and a guy's, 4 or 5 car lengths ahead of you. It's easy to make up the difference if if you're pretty quick on that little track. It's pretty good for that.
And at the same time, it's big enough, wide enough that there's multiple grooves. It's not a one groove track, even though it's short.
Yeah, no, they've done well, and I mean to throw some cars out there for 50 laps and expect it to have multiple grooves the whole race. I don't know any track that'll work on. So no, they've done good. The width is great. I mean, it's not that far around it. So when a guy gets out on you, there's not that much room to make up. It's
right.
Like, I've been racing fairground, some of these other bigger tracks, and man, if a guy gets out on you, even if you're faster, you just can't hardly chase him down, and it makes on that little track.
Yeah, down there, if you can get a couple of lap cars to hold the leader up a little bit, you got a chance to catch him.
Oh yeah, it changes the whole race quick.
Yep. Well, Steve, you got anything for Robert?
Robert, I want to just tell you thank you very much for starting doing that whole double down deal. I know a lot of guys are excited about it, and you put on one heck of a show. And not just once, but twice you put on a heck of a show that night. So that was pretty fun.
Well,
pretty fun to watch.
Man, that deal like that. I guess that was the extra money was sponsored, or whatever, and it's nice that they put it out there. I'm glad they didn't have to pay it out, but you know, man, you guys keep it interesting with stuff like that. I don't know what all to do. I'm not that kind of guy to figure that kind of stuff out, but I'm just saying it keeps it interesting. And I mean, if you can get a sponsor on board to do something like that, I mean, even you know, you always throw the hard charger deal out there, and that helps the guy that, you know, maybe didn't win, but he come from back, you know, 10 cars back, and I think that, you know, that double down deal is pretty cool. I would like to have even seen, you know, of course the rules are set and you can't change it at the last minute, but I'd like to see, you know, maybe Jared go back there with me, and then both of us, you know, offer the split on the money or something, you know, just to inform the fans of it, and then gives them something to watch, and really makes it, well, not just a race. It makes it, you know, can these guys do it or whatever. So it adds some excitement to it for them.
Well, that may be an idea for something for us to work on in the future. There with a, you know, a possibility for two guys to go to the back and maybe race it out and see how it comes out.
Right. You know, I mean, just like you know, Jared. I mean, we walk around the pits, and you know, we're acquaintances. But you know, when we get in the car, both of us, we put our helmet on. It's a race, you know. But if there's a deal to say where, you know, I could have split the money with him if we both made it to 1-2 or vice versa. Well, that adds it to me and him too, because that doubles our chances of, you know what I mean, collecting part of the money. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, but I mean.
Plus, at the same time, like you said, it gives something for the fans, something else for the fans to watch and root for and keep up with. Because, like I said, when I was watching it on video, I was watching two parts of the race. I was watching the front guys, but I was also watching to see how you were doing and whether or not you were going to do it. Because as we talked about this before, Damian and I threw out a short list of the drivers that we thought that would take the challenge if they had the opportunity, and the guys that were, if you will, capable of possibly actually winning from the back. And your name, of course, came up first in both of our lists because we knew, A, that you would try it, and B, that you could possibly have been successful at it, and darn, you almost were.
Well, man, we appreciate the offer too, and you know, it's a good deal. You guys are doing that whole series deal. I look back on some of that, and a lot of these guys maybe don't even remember like the NCRA stuff, but you know, we traveled around a lot doing that, and looking back on that, at the time I thought, golly, they're going to have us driving plumb to wherever, you know, and then looking back on that, man, that's some of the best memories I had. You know, I would have never drove to Caney or Hutch or wherever to go race, but you know, during that points deal, you know, it kind of forced us to do it, and looking back on it, that's some of the best, you know, the best memories. So you guys got a good deal going there. I think you're doing good.
Well, speaking of the points, I guess you know where you're sitting in the Center Limited Modified Series points right now, right?
Well, I figured we was pretty good. Yeah,
you're on the top.
I hadn't seen it this week, but I seen it last week. I don't know, what is it, 3 points position or something. So he probably didn't gain a whole lot on me.
Right. Yeah, it's let's see. I think I saw a while ago 34 points.
23
points. Whew. That's close.
Yeah. Oh, it'll probably come down. Hopefully he chases it all the way through, and I'm sure Heston and Don and them will. So it'll be interesting at the end. It always gets down to the wire, and it gets pretty cutthroat. But
keep your eye on that redheaded guy. He's coming. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No,
he's coming.
He's been right there every time, and he's you know, for just jumping off in that Sportmon deal.
Man, has he not done well? Has he not done just really, really stupendously well?
Well, that's just it. He has. And I'll tell you what, Heston, I've run with him over there, especially at Meeker these last couple of shows. And I tell you, man, we've run door to door, and I'm not scared to get right in there with that guy. He don't bother me. A lot of guys you kind of worry about, you know, do I need to, can I run with this guy? Can I sneak in between him and the wall? What's he going to do to me when I get there? And, you know, man, he's always run me right, and you know, I've tried to do the same back with him, and he's definitely come a long ways for the shortest time this year that he's been in it. So yeah, he's doing well.
So I understand we had another Elliott at the track Friday night.
Yeah, that's my son. He started racing a little bit, messing with the enduro car, running over at Elk City, and we come home Friday night, and he said, "Man, I really enjoy that more than even Elk City. I think just because it's a little smaller, and not so intimidating on speed and stuff for him. But yeah, he's having a pretty good time with that."
And his name is Race?
Yep, Race Elliott.
What a cool name for a race driver.
And even his mom come up with that. That wasn't me.
Well, congratulations to him and to you, and Mom did a great job on naming him, and hopefully we get to see a whole lot more of him, and I know we'll see a lot more of you.
Sure, yeah. He's ready to come back to Meeker, so we'll be back over there with that. He needs to make some laps, so the more the better for him. And
oh yeah, it's all about seat time.
Yeah, I don't know how they could promote that little class, but you got to keep that going because it's a pretty economical deal for people to get in and get people interested. And if you lose that, it don't matter what's going on above it. It's not going to happen now.
You got to have an entry level class. You got to have something that the guy in the stand says, "I can do that."
Yep.
I mean,
that's take that enduro class and do like a claim, or you let somebody out of the stands buy it each night by the winner or whatever. And as long as the guys aren't spending a whole lot on the cars, it gets new people that wouldn't necessarily do it, but they can buy a car for $300 or $400 and come out the next week, and it just gets new people going. So
I've been kind of surprised. I really thought that the Hornet class out there was going to take off really big, and maybe we just haven't given it enough time yet to see what's going to happen there. But I think that's going to be a heck of a good class out there. I mean, a great entry-level deal. It's not real expensive. You don't have to, and you really can't do a lot to the cars. So, I mean, that's just a perfect situation for an off-the-street guy.
Sure.
So I'm hoping to see a whole lot more of that. And I think that as we promote it and as it goes along, I think it's going to get bigger and better in that deal.
Yeah, I think so too. Hopefully they'll have some success with that.
Damien, are you still on?
No, he signed out. I don't know why. I don't know.
No, okay. Well, I was going to see if he had anything for Robert. Well, Robert, I guess...
Sure, after 17 hours, I kind of understand that one.
Right, I can't blame him either. If I've been welding for 17 hours, I just want to go close my eyes. But before we turn you loose, of course, we always like to let our guests and our drivers thank all of the people that make this possible for them. So take this opportunity and thank the people that make this possible for Robert Elliott.
Well, I got to especially thank Johnny Rauschenberg. He's always, I've always run a car for him, and me and him grew up doing that. So I appreciate him always putting me in something good. I've got a car of my own, but me and him, we have a lot of fun with our family and stuff, going and do it together. So hats off to him. I appreciate that. And of course, his business, Fine Roofing Supply and Sundown Services, Western Flyer. Curtis Allen's always been real good to us, helped us out a bunch. So, I'm sure there's others that I'm missing, but that's the main gist of it. We appreciate them guys a lot.
Well, thank the people at home too, of course. Mom and.
Yeah, there's always a lot of help in the shop. I mean, Chris Miller, Brian Goucher, Michael Salmon helps me out. Johnny's always there, and Matt, Michaela. I mean, it's everybody. I mean, I'm sure I probably left some of them out, but of course, Race, he's always there to help me whatever I need to do, and hopefully one of these days, me and him will get to run together a little bit. So, yeah, got a lot of help. Without him, I couldn't do it because I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. I don't know if I'm getting older or it's getting a lot more work, but
it's probably some of both.
I think it is a little bit of both. We'll blame it on that.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
Well, sir, always a pleasure to have you on the show, and we hope to have you back with us again. Again, congratulations on your third place finish, and unfortunate that it couldn't have been first, but it can't be first every. There's only one winner, as Kevin said earlier. There's only one winner every night. There can only be one winner, and you put on one heck of a show. I know the fans enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Always a pleasure having you with us on the show, and I hope that you'll come back and visit with us again real soon.
Yeah,
hey Larry,
you guys have me.
Larry, just letting you know that he did win one last weekend, by the way, in his own car.
You know, I saw that on Facebook. You were in the 09 car last weekend somewhere, right?
Yeah, we went Saturday night. We went to Dodge City. Had a good run Saturday night. Yeah, so it's a nice track up there, real real racy, and it's an IMCA points deal. So we started in the back of our heat, and then ended up starting I think 7th, in the A, and then we had a real good run. And it had a top groove and a bottom groove, and that's a pretty fast cars there. So yeah, we ended up getting a win there. So.
A first and a third for the weekend is not bad at all. There's a lot of guys that'd be happy to put that up in their book for, well, this weekend is a first and a third. It's not too sloppy.
No, it was a lot of fun. I enjoy traveling around, seeing other places. So no, we had a good weekend.
All right, really good having you on the show, dude. Please come back and visit with us again.
We will. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Robert Elliott. Well, been a heck of a good show. We've had a little bit of everything. We've had Cody Brewer come on from Red Dirt Raceway and talk with us a bit about what's going on out there and about the Fallen Euro 50. And, of course, we talked a lot about the Fallen Euro 50. Hey, I want to give a couple of shout-outs real quick. The Fallen Euro 50, we talked about the fact that Jared Baird won and that Heston Shaw was second, and Robert Elliott was third, but there were some guys that had some really good runs that night. Don Reed had a really good show, really good run going that night. Jimmy Wright, Sean Jorsky was up in the top 10, Rob Bland. Gosh, I know I'm missing a couple others that really put on a pretty good show. Always a good show out there at Red Dirt Raceway. If you're listening to the show and you haven't been out there, well, my first question is, why haven't you? But my second comment would be, you definitely need to go. You definitely need to check out a show out there. It's a lot different than it used to be, and the racing is still just as good as it ever was, maybe better, and definitely becoming one of the premier facilities in the state.
Another person put on a pretty good show, and that's Jeff Roselle. He actually got tangled up in a couple of wrecks and got sent back, and he worked his way up to 5th position. So I know that he had a lot of work to do himself. So he
right.
I want to say congrats on that top 5 for him as well.
Absolutely.
But
I knew I'd leave somebody out. I just remembered when I was watching the video, I remembered that like, for instance, I noticed that when Robert got up to Jorsky and Bland and Jimmy Wright, they held him up for a few laps there. It took him a little while to get around them guys, so, hats off to them.
Yeah, that was he made him earn it, I will say that.
Yep.
So you want to go through the top 10 points, or?
Yeah, let me pull it up here. I don't know if the one I've got's correct. It's as of 5/18. Is that the latest?
Yeah, because I stayed up about 3 o'clock in the morning making sure the points are right. So yeah, that's it.
So that means that that's the wrong picture. Get the correct picture here. Here we go. Sooner Limited Modified Series points standings. First place in the points is, of course, the 1F of Robert Elliott, and he's got 611 points. 23 points behind him in second is, of course, Jared Baird, the B4 car, and he's got 588, in case you didn't want to do that math. Third sits Heston Shaw with 577 points, which puts him only 9 points behind Baird and only 34 points behind the leader. Don Reed sits in fourth. Don with a 58 car. He's got 525 points. Todd Decker in the 42 car, another guy who had a pretty good run Friday night out there at Red Dirt. He sits in fifth with 501 points. Sixth is Zach Tippett, the 66T car, and he's got 451 points. And sitting at seventh, how about my buddy Frank Stapp in the 10G doing a heck of a job out there, 415 points for Frank, and has moved well into the top 10. Brandon Greitz, the young man that just got married last week, and he was there Friday night, I believe, as well, and and had a pretty good night. Brandon sits in 8th place with 399 points. Then it's Jeff Roselle in the 101 car. He's got 382 points, and Jeff's missed a race or two, so that's kind of why he's kind of back there a little bit. 10th place, rounding out 10th, is the captain, as we call him, Jonathan Morgan, driver of the 33M car, and he sits in 10th with 366 points. So only 245 points between 10th place and first place, and still a whole lot of races to go. The season hasn't even really ramped up yet. We haven't even gotten into the hot months yet, Stevie.
Yeah, that's when all excitement happens. You know, you get the hot
yeah, that's when it gets crazy.
Timbers fly, and
yeah. And then the points battle starts building, and it gets closer, and we get closer to the end, and people that were, I'm not running for points this year, all of a sudden are all worried about where they're sitting in the points. And
exactly, yeah.
It gets to be quite exciting as the season kind of winds down. Of course, I already mentioned.
I do want to give a shout out to David.
Oh, go ahead.
You know, David Gibbons. He drove. You know, he drove. Well, essentially, it was my old car that I raced, and you know, Mom and Dad own, and I know we was all pretty bummed out blowing that motor, but I am extremely proud how he's done in that car.
Oh, he has done incredibly well.
He won a couple heat races so far this year, and you know, he had one race that wasn't ours. He won a heat race and finished top 10, and then the next week he went and did one of our races, and he finished the top 10 again, and actually won a heat race as well. And you know, I just cannot thank him enough for being in that car and doing so well in that car. And I hope we eventually get back going again, and where he can run more races. Because
I know you know this, but I'll point this out to the fans that aren't sitting here looking at the points like I am. David sits in 11th place right now in points, so he's just out of the top 10 by about 15 points. 15 points would put him into the top 10. So
6 points.
Oh, you're right. Excuse me. I was looking at whoever's below. Oh, I was looking at Preston Crawford. Yeah, he's only 6 points out of the top 10. So is that going to do it for his year, or are you guys going to be able to come back? Or
well, I think we're going to be done in that car for a while. I don't know how soon or whatever. And I kind of mentioned, you know, kind of jokingly said, "Hey, how about let's get it back going at least by Humboldt, you know, because I know, you know, he had family in that area, and you know, I know he would be pretty excited about taking it out there. But you know, he's got his own truck, you know, Gibbons Trucking that sponsors that car as well, along with my dad. He's really busy doing that, and I know it's hard for him to be out of town all week, then jump in the car and be out of town again. So, you know, I can understand all that. Yeah. But I do really enjoy watching him, and I know my dad enjoyed, you know, racing with him, and it's actually kind of fun watching them two guys just having fun, you know. Yeah. And seeing my dad smile and seeing that car up front, it made my dad's day. It really did.
Well, that's good.
I really can't, like I say, I know I keep saying it, but I cannot thank him enough for being there.
Right. So, as we mentioned earlier, next up on the schedule is June 9th at Oklahoma Sports Park in Ada. And then we follow that up the very next Saturday with the 16th of June at, help me out, Elk City?
Elk City.
Elk City.
Then we go to, excuse me, then we go to Humboldt. I got another call out. Awesome. So we go to Humboldt July 27th, so we got a little gap in between there. Then the next day, following day, we go to Caney Valley.
Yep. Well, be on our Kansas leg of the journey, if you will.
That's going to be fun. It's going to be against the B-Mods. Humboldt.
I get to go to both of those shows, so that should be great.
Humboldt,
I've been to Caney before.
I do have the purse. I just don't have it up yet. But I will post that here pretty shortly. Hopefully I'll get Caney Valley's up here pretty soon. That way we can start getting these guys knowing what the purse is going to be for that weekend. hopefully they know, what we're doing for the B mods and the B mods versus the Sooner Limited modifieds.
Well, definitely
been a night for call-outs.
Definitely going to be some exciting racing coming up for the series, and I look forward to it and look forward to traveling with you guys and just being there. Always have a good time with traveling with the Limited Modified Series.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I never got to be the Humboldt 4, so I'm really excited about seeing what that track's going to be like. I've actually been to Caney Valley back in the day. My dad actually drove a dwarf car. I can't even remember what year it was, but he drove a dwarf car out there, and it was pretty exciting out there. And I'm pretty excited about going back to there. We're working on a few other tracks for the series. Hopefully, I'll have some news on one of them here pretty shortly. I think last week that you did say something about the September 15th show at 81 Speedway that just came on board.
Right.
So got a little bit more Kansas tracks this year than we had, and actually, just all in all, we have a lot of new tracks this year. I know the drivers really enjoy it, just to see something different every week or every couple of weeks whenever we go, and it's just, plus it gives something for the fans to go see, something you can see different drivers they haven't seen yet, and it gets for them too.
You there?
Sorry, I'm bouncing around on this road trying to get back to my call out again.
Mm-hmm.
So, what, you got this weekend off for yourself?
Oh my gosh, I do. I have 3 whole days with nothing. A Friday night, a Saturday night, and a Sunday. Hannah's trying to talk me into taking her fishing Saturday, which I think that's what we're going to do because I personally haven't been fishing. I bought my fishing license last year for the first time in several years because I don't get to go enough to make buying a license worthwhile. And I bought my license last year, and we went fishing one time. And so our plan for this year is to increase that by at least 1 or 2 more times. My cousin just recently bought some land out in the country that's got 3 or 4 big ponds on it. So I think Saturday we're going to go drown a few worms.
That sounds like a plan. I think Saturday, actually we got the whole weekend off as well. So I think Saturday I'm going to go with my mom and dad and my aunt, and we're going to go put some flyers out on to the cemetery. Like that's been a pretty good tradition as far as what they do. They do that every year. So I haven't been with them in a while, and I said, you know what, I need to go up there, and I'm going to go spend some time with them. And I think Sunday we're going to smoke some ribs, kind of relax, and Monday, whatever's up in there. I was thinking about going to the lake. Get this weekend off, and next weekend kind of prep for the June 9th show, and we'll be hard at it again.
Right. Well, before we say goodnight, I guess we probably ought to thank our sponsors one more time. I think we'll do it backwards this time. We'll start with our newest sponsor and work our way upwards. We'd like to thank the folks at KR Performance Fuels, Schoenfeld Headers, Quick Rescue Roofs, Ibex Motorsports, Images X2, High Tech Tactical, Steve's Auto Machine, 41 Shocks, Total Custom Carbs and Dyno, TCC, Donco Plumbing, Bulletproof Products, Smiley's Racing Products, Knockout Graphics, Hoosier Tire, and, of course, FB Designs. Thank you to all of those folks out there that support the Sooner Limited Modified Series wherever we go. And, of course, to everybody out there that's listening, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for listening. 50 episodes in the book. Hopefully we can be around for another 50 episodes. Hopefully we can keep it interesting enough that you guys keep wanting to come on and listen. And we really appreciate you all being here. We appreciate all of the kind words that we've heard about, the great job we're doing with the show. And especially a thanks to Dirt Track Racing Network for giving us the opportunity and a time and a place to be able to do this. We really appreciate it, and we thank those folks very, very much.
Yeah, that's it. It's good to hear when they say such are the nice words that they've been saying. It makes it all worthwhile, all the hard work that you put into it.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Anytime that somebody says, hey, I listened to the show, I'm always like, well, I'm excited about that because, then you know that, what you're doing is it may not be making a big difference in the big picture of the world or whatever, but, at least you know that your efforts aren't in vain, and we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, exactly.
We got probably if we took it another 5 minutes, we'd be to 9:30. What do you want to do for the next 5 minutes?
Well, I don't know. See, we went through the top 10 points. We say the results for last weekend completely through.
What'd you say, Richie?
I didn't hear him.
I said, did we do the whole entire results for last weekend?
No, we didn't. I believe I've got them right here. Let's do that real quick. Since we've been talking all about the Fallen Hero 50, let's see here. Here is your results from the Fallen Hero 50 at Red Dirt Raceway. Of course, your winner was Jared Baird in the B4 car. Second place was was Heston Shaw in the 12R. Third, of course, was Robert Elliott in the 1F. Fourth went to Don Reed, the 58 car. Jeff Roselle come home fifth in that 101. The 33M of Matt Beasley. Beasley finished sixth. James Skinner finished seventh.
Shout out to him, by the way.
That's the guy that drove 228 miles from Texas to come up to from Burleson, Texas, and looks like his car number is 175. He drove over 200 miles to join us out there at Red Dirt Raceway, and shout out to him, and thank you very much for coming along, and congratulations on your 7th place finish. Eighth was my buddy Polish Power Sean Jorski in the 73 car. Ninth, Todd Decker in the 42. 10th was Zach Tippett in the 66T. Preston Crawford, the 52 car, finished 11th. 12th went to Brandon Greitz in the 14 car. 13th was Frank Stapp, the 10G. And from there on down, it was did not finish, but they put in a heck of a show anyway, so we're going to go ahead and mention them. 14th was Rob Bland in the 16 car. 15th was Glenn Wiley in the 97. 16th was the 6 car of Chase Vineyard. 17th was Jimmy Wright in the 25 car. 18th was Kevin Lewis in the 21K car out of Ada, Oklahoma, of course. 19th, a guy that just threw back into Sport Mods and threw in with the Sooner Limited Modified Series, Donnie McConnell, my buddy, the Illustrated Man, Donnie McConnell. Glad to see him coming back with us, and we hope to see him in a whole lot more shows. 20th was Austin Griggs in the 911 car. 21st was Fast Eddie Sweeney in the 21E car. 22nd was Jerry Insee in the 121 car. David Gibbons finished 23rd, and 24th was Michael Buzan in the 25Z, and then it looks like Frank Graven didn't make the call for the A feature in the 80 car.
Yeah, he was having some back problems right at the end of it. That could be understandable on that.
But thanks to all of those guys, 25 drivers showed up down there at Red Dirt Raceway. We appreciate it very much. And you put on a heck of a show down there, and congratulations to all of you.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to tell these guys thank you so much. I do want to make sure I do appreciate them being there and putting on a good show, and can't wait to see the rest of the year and seeing all these guys out there again. Thank you for all the support from all the drivers, the fans, crew members, the family, the sponsors, just everybody behind it. Well,
I think that's brought us to the end of the show for another night. Of course, as I said, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We want to thank the folks at Dirt Track Racing Network for letting us put this show on, and Stevie for allowing me to come on and be on the show with him, and Richard White for his excellent job in engineering the show, and my buddy Damian Bean for his contributions along the way. 50 shows, 50 episodes. Wow, that's a heck of a landmark there. I don't know about you, but I didn't know for sure if we would make it here at one point, and yet here we are. And hopefully we can put in 50 more and even more than that. As I say every week, we thank everybody for being along, and on behalf of myself and Stevie Slater and Damon Bean and Richard White, good night, and we'll see you at the racetrack.
Today's show is brought to you by High Tech Tactical, Hoosier Racing Tire, Steve's Auto Machine. Also brought to you by 41 Shocks, Knockout Graphics, Smiley's Racing Products, Bulletproof Products, Donco Plumbing, Schonefeld Headers, FB Designs, Ibex Race Bumpers, and RLD Productions. Now back to our show, Sooners Limited Modified Series.